Hello, and welcome to the Astrology Show podcast with astrologer Shelley Overton.
Hi, and welcome to the July 28th, 2022 edition of the Astrology podcast. My name is Shelley Overton. As you heard from the intro, I am an astrologer in Orlando, Florida. I want to welcome you here this week. I am recording this exactly within 3 minutes of the new moon. So I'm looking, it's right now moon at 5 degrees, 35 minutes, sun at 5 degrees, 38 minutes of Leo. And that's really awesome because I have Venus at 2 degrees Leo. So both of new moon and the sun are right on my natal Venus. So what does that mean? What does it mean to have a new moon? A new moon is when the moon is closest to the sun in the sky, going around the sun and around the earth, it's attached to the earth kind of, but we see it in relation to the sun. And so when it's between the earth and the sun, it's a new moon. And that means it's as close to the sun as it can be in our alignment. So the moon is deeply emotional. It is the ruler of the fourth house of home and family. It is the moon rulership of Cancer, the sign of Cancer. And that means it's really connected to our domestic bliss, our idea of what security means, how we're nurtured by our mother. And it truly does signify the mom energy. The father energy is signified by the sun. There are multiple ways you can indicate father and mother in a chart. You can do it with sun and moon, Saturn and the moon, Mars and Venus, even if you want to, the 7th and 8th house. There are many ways to find out about mom and dad. That's pretty important, especially right now, as we have this approaching Mars-Uranus North Node aspect conjunction coming up on Monday, because that's kind of a square by sign to Leo, and Mercury right now is at 18 degrees Leo, so it's directly squaring Uranus and Taurus today also. And so emotions and relationships and feeling secure are all really on the table for us as I'm speaking. The new moon means that we are at the beginning point, the waning moon, which is when the moon goes down to 0, just finished. And now we're going to start waxing again for the next 2 weeks until the moon gets opposite the sun. And I think it's probably going to be an Aquarius full moon, which is one of my favorites, 19 degrees Aquarius on the 11th of August. Very fortunate. But the Leo moon, the Leo new moon, the day before they draw for the next Mega Millions, I can play Mega Millions here in Florida, and it's $1.025 billion. So I don't know if we've ever had $1 billion lotto, but it is this week, and it is pulled on Friday, so it's going to be pretty amazing having this new moon come in. I should have gotten a lottery ticket before now, but it's still all in Leo. Leo rules gambling. So I think someone's probably going to win it. Definitely between the new moon in Leo and the Uranus-Mars conjunction on Monday, seems like a really prime time for someone to take home that amazing lottery. So yeah, it's kind of like at the beginning point, though, believe it or not, in energy, the sun, moon join up, and then they talk to each other, and they start off, moon goes out again for another round around the earth till it gets back there in 28 days. So, Leo energy, again, it's the storyteller, it's larger than life, it is the leader, it's stories and drama. Let me see, I always notice that when we have Leo aspects, of course, it's a fire sign. There's a stronger chance of breaking glass, of doing some type of glass work if you're an artist. Glass really, the malleability and creativity of molten glass seems to really come out under the Leo energy. The fire signs tend to be more self-promotive. And so like Aries is a good salesperson. Leo is the one who can stand in front of the crowd and promote things. And Sagittarius is basically take action. It's more the purest activity under Sagittarius. Aries is really driven for action too, but Sagittarius I always see as athletes. So I guess under the athleticism of Sagittarius, I would assign that to more like on the ground running. I know someone who has Neptune and Sagittarius, very strong drive to keep going and to move. And usually Sagittarius influenced people will not stay put for very long. They go to different places. They love to travel. They're seekers. And yeah, they really can't be held back, so to speak. Anyway, Mercury at 18 Leo. So Mercury right now is approaching an opposition to Saturn and directly square to Uranus. So there's like a T-square between Saturn in Aquarius and Mercury in Aries, Leo. I don't know why I say Aries. Mercury in Leo. And then they both square Uranus as it approaches, like I said, the North Node and Mars conjunction. And so this is pretty potent energy for major changes around mentality, how we see things, how we see children, how we see the needs of our children, and what we analyze them as. And Mercury is the ruler of Virgo and Gemini, both very good educational energies. So when you have Mercury in Leo, it brings a creative aspect to education and a connection between teachers who are represented by Mercury and the children under Leo. The Saturn aspect opposition is in Aquarius, which again is intellect and science, space, anything, wanting to seek truth really is a very strong key point of Aquarian energy. It is looking for the truth, but also looking for power and place in society, as is Leo. Leo definitely wants to belong, but Aquarius is really more how we belong to the collective, whereas Leo is much more one-on-one and who are you to me? What's our relationship like? What are we getting from each other? And how do we connect to each other and share commonality? That Leo energy will absolutely affect the sun and the moon, specifically the moon over the next 2 days, because the moon just went into Leo, I believe this morning. Let me see. Yeah, about 2:36 a.m. Eastern or Pacific. Let me see, which is ahead? Yeah, it was 2:36 a.m. Eastern and 11:36 p.m. Pacific overnight Wednesday. And so, yeah, really brand new energy of the moon going into a brand new sign just before it goes into conjunction with the sun. And so it really is, what do we want from that relationship? How are we connecting? How are we bonding? Make those determinations. And then the next 2.5 days, specifically in Leo. And then definitely when the moon hits Mercury, we get a voice, we get our say, we get to see the thought processes of that significant person in our lives, and that will be tomorrow. And then Venus, 12 degrees Cancer, she is in like an inconjunct energy to, let me see, is she in conjunct? No, she's sextile, my bad. Sextile to all the Taurus planets and North Node. So she's at 12 degrees. She's in Cancer, so she's much more interested in finding out things to do around the home. I am refinishing one of the chairs for the dinette set to see if it will refinish fine and look good. And it's turning out really great, but it's a lot of work in 92-degree heat with about 90% humidity. It's really a lot and very draining here in Florida right now. So the sextile between the Uranus energy and Mars energy with Venus means that she's kind of supercharged with the energy of materialization and bringing something into manifest. Definitely being in Cancer, security and looking to home. What are the material goods? Buying more material goods, tending to the home money, the home finances. What is love like in the home? Because it is desire. Venus rules the desire that we have, the expression of receptivity around feminine energy, and of course the mother energy, and bringing in feminine mother into our daily lives right now. Specifically, well, the moon just got done with Cancer, and so now that at the beginning degrees of Leo is a great manifestation towards home and family, because when you put Cancer on the first house of identity, you've got Leo on the second house of home and material goods. And so we'll see that connection to manifestation of whatever you've been dealing with the last few days, if you're listening, Friday. So as the moon goes through Leo, we're going to have this stronger energy around being more brave. That word came up specifically in courageous. Remember, it is the season of the lion. Lion's Gate, as has been awakened lately amongst the metaphysical crowd. But it's really coming into your own identity, your sense of self, your creativity, your playfulness, your connection to your childlike inner soul, and to children outside in the external world. Okay, Mars, Uranus, North Node, have we talked about this enough? Monday, comes in Monday. And so we're going to really see this energy ramp up over the weekend. It's going to be super strong, especially with this T-square. It's going to be really emotional, but it's going to be productive. And part of that is because Pluto is also in a trine energy to the North Node. And it's also because there's an opposition of the moon today on Thursday. There's an opposition of the moon to Pluto, just finished an exact opposition today, this morning. And it's still kind of there with the new moon. So the new moon together really is still within orb of an opposition to Pluto, changing us, really looking at the structure of our lives, the structure of our psychology, what our belief systems are. The North Node also is a fate point in the sky. It is the point where the moon crosses the horizon in orb around the Earth. It's the one side, and then the other side would be where the moon goes to the other side of the Earth. So the North Node and the South Node are points in the sky where the moon's path around the Earth and the sun's path around the Earth for the year cross paths. So it's called the ecliptic. And so it's where these two elliptical orbs cross on both sides of the Earth. And those points are points of fate, obviously, because they crisscross the sun and the moon on both sides of the Earth, creating almost a magnetic pull for people on Earth. So it's a really fascinating point in the sky. And it's right next to Uranus, which we've discussed already. And so there are major changes. And this is unexpected change. This is alternative ideas, alternative mindset, alternative ways of looking at things, new, unusual, eccentric, expressive, ideological ideas. And then Mars giving it legs, Mars running with the idea. So this is when charities take off. This, and which reminds me, politically, I find really interesting because there is a trine of Pluto to Uranus North Node, and there is a new political party that's being formed by Andrew Yang, I believe, or Yang, Y-A-N-G, and a number of people from both sides of the political aisle. It is, he said it's already got $5 million of funding. It has no problem funding the startup of it. It initiates on September 24th, and it's called the Freedom Party. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that does. I'll have to do a chart for that particular event here coming up in one of the next podcasts. But that's kind of interesting as we get to the end degrees of Pluto. And Mercury right there also coming up on an inconjunct in the next week. We'll have an inconjunct of Mercury to Pluto, but I'm not going to jump ahead. I want to tell you about the week. First off, let me see, Jupiter goes retrograde as well today, and that happens at 4:37 p.m. Eastern and 1:37 p.m. Pacific. Jupiter, transformation, transformative. It's about races, it's about guns, it's about equality, it's about freedom, it's about travel and inspiration and spirit and understanding the spiritual realm, and how do we affect the collective, and how do we make things happen in our worlds. So Jupiter going back in Aries means that all the forward momentum we've had from Aries will now be revisited until Jupiter gets back to Pisces, in which case when Jupiter gets back to Pisces, it's going to revisit the wrapping up of the old story, the sentimentality and archival qualities, the vintage qualities that we have coming in from the Piscean energy. Jupiter hits 29 degrees of Pisces on, I think I just looked up 29th of October. or pretty close to 29th. Let me look again. 28th, 29th. I'm not going to the day. I'm just doing the table. So yeah, 29th of October, 29 degrees Pisces. It is an energy that if you initiate something there is going to last a very long time, because you have Jupiter transformative expansion going towards the earlier degrees of Pisces. And so in the chart of whatever you initiate, then Jupiter is at the very last degree of the very last sign of the zodiac, going away from ending. So it will probably last a good long time if you initiate it around that day, around Halloween this year. But that being said, you also have the transformative energy of Jupiter. And so our transformative energy of Jupiter right now is going to be in Aries. And so that means a sale that you thought was good might not go through. And I particularly make note of this today because I know someone who is trying to sell a car and getting notice of cars and about selling the car. And if the deal is trying to be made this morning, it could change by this afternoon within 3 hours when that energy shifts. But on the other side of it, 2 or 3 offers have come in and all have been turned down. And when Jupiter goes back over it, they'll come in again, very likely at a higher amount because they want it. And so they're rethinking that car and they're going back and giving a second offer, probably higher because it's Jupiter. And then we're going to be going back over all this initiating energy that we've experienced since Jupiter went into the sign of Aries. And I honestly don't remember when that was. Let's just look it up real quick here. Jupiter went into Aries in May, it looks like. May 11th. And so we're going all the way back into October through what we've experienced starting May 11th. And so, yeah, that's going to be an interesting reevaluation of where we've headed. And of course, Roe v. Wade was during that time as well. It's going to be an alternate shift on how we look at it, and then a culmination after October 29th. And I think it's not until December 29th that Jupiter actually goes direct again and finishes off its time in Pisces. So anyway, Neptune today at 25 degrees looks like it's in sextile still to Pluto. So still a really strong time for ideas and dreams and making the change you need to make structurally and in the system with authority to get where you want to go. And so we've got that going on. Let's just look at what we have coming up for the week, because I'm not going to really be long here on this podcast this week. Friday is the connection of Moon squaring Mars and Taurus and also squaring Uranus. So we've got pretty strong energy around Leo and Taurus, and that means a lot of drama, a lot of shift and change. Okay, so yeah, Friday, probably a little more contentious, a little more dramatic than we are used to. Moon joined up with Mercury in Leo at 7:49 p.m. on Friday. And that will mean we're going to be very stubborn in what we want. We may be approached by someone wanting something from us in relationship. And intellectually, we understand whether or not that is to our benefit. And we will stand our ground because, by golly, Leo is stubborn. And then Moon opposite Saturn in Aquarius, also a very stubborn energy. And so really, I would say Friday, standing your ground for what you want, and then the moon goes void, of course, at 12:29 a.m. into Saturday and 9:29 p.m. Pacific on Friday. So moon changes signs at 2:11 p.m. on Saturday. Until then, we really have a couple in conjuncts to Neptune and Pluto with the moon. So that's going to be difficult for the moon because Pluto and Neptune are really dug in right now, going retrograde. And then Sunday, pretty big day. I've got an opposition of Mercury to Saturn as it starts the day at 2:05 a.m. There's an inconjunct of the moon to Jupiter in Aries, so Virgo Aries energy, which is going to be intellect and passion. So if that's a continuation of the story that started Friday, it's still going to be kind of a battle of wills. And then we've got Venus square Chiron. So Chiron, again, I've really tried to dig deeper into Chiron, and it's just really this very thoughtful energy. And I mean, you do get wounded, but it's not just a story of wounding. It is about being thoughtful. And it's in Aries, which can be really headstrong. So, I think Chiron's going to be throwing a tantrum. And then Venus in Cancer squaring Chiron at 10:04 a.m. Sunday could very well be a story around moms and women and potentially violence or somebody getting hurt or harmed, sadly. And then, and also gun violence is associated with Aries. We've got Sun trine to Jupiter in Aries at 6:36 p.m. on Sunday. So again, double fire and transformational. So kind of I see that as there is a tantrum, but there's almost an acquiescence from the Sun and ego in Leo and the connectedness to children through creativity, and a trine to Jupiter, which is expansion, transformative in Aries, which is also children, but it's male energy, and it can express through that tantrum and anger. And so a trine is an emotional bout, right? Then, it's probably going to be, why can't you just do what I want you to do? And you say, because it's not beneficial. And we understand that with Sun and Leo. And then the moon in Virgo in conjuncts Chiron and sextiles Venus at 11:19 p.m. So moon sextile Venus on Sunday is going to be a thoughtful, introspective day. Virgo is the hermit, and Venus in Cancer is time around home. And then Monday, we are off to the races. And over the weekend, even though I say you're going to be around the house some, there's definitely a Sunday evening rest and relaxation and rejuvenate time. It is a building towards this T-square and the conjunction in Taurus, Uranus, Mars, North Node. And so Monday is really the perfection of that trine and the perfection of, the Earth trine, the T-square, and then also the conjunction. So we'll go through the day Monday, 1:35 a.m. Eastern, moon trines Mars, Virgo moon to Taurus Mars. So it is a more cooperative energy. It is a learning, educational aspect. Moon trine Uranus, again, very educational, very much the beginning of finals week here in Orlando for UCF, the University of Central Florida. And so next week it's going to, start out very rapid with the testing. And it's also Mars Uranus North Node. There could be some educational activity, and then Mars is always going to be aggression or action. And so joining up with Uranus is very volatile for taking action to the masses. So it would not surprise me if Monday also sees another violent act against people. And I'm hoping and knocking wood that it's not education, but it could be. It could be in a school of some sort or a college of some sort. And then we have, I think, Mercury. Yeah, Mercury in conjunct to Neptune. Friction between what we say and what we desire. Moon Virgo in conjunct to Saturn Aquarius. So that's interesting because Mercury rules rules Virgo. So there is an intellect aspect, which is very much energized by the Aquarian energy. Any Earth Aquarian or Uranian energy in Earth is going to be how to come up with ideas we can manifest. Both are very clearly trying to do that, but come about it two different ways, because Saturn in Aquarius is air. It's all up in the head, where Virgo moon wants to bring it into the physical and wants to do the details and the groundwork that helps manifest that idea. So there's going to be an irritation with that. And then, so the actual conjunction of Uranus to Mars happens at 7:53 p.m. on Monday, and that's Eastern, 4:53 p.m. Pacific. And so in the early evening, 8 o'clock, mid-evening, I guess, we're going to really be at our peak. I know that when I have Uranian/Aquarian energy, I get headaches. And it's been a really interesting week with this as it approaches, because I'm really feeling very jittery, very anxious almost every single day. My awareness of things. And I think this is really true with a full moon in Aquarius, but also moon in Aquarius or any planets in Aquarius. It's so clear-minded that we feel a connectedness and almost an alertness. We're awake and alert with this energy. And it's almost as if the light is too bright and the sound is too loud. And I remember when I first learned Reiki, I went through a period of a few months where everything was so bright and so loud as I raised my vibration to be able to do Reiki. And so as this energy comes in, it is a really awesome energy for doing Reiki if you are a Reiki practitioner or looking to become one, because Reiki it goes through the air. It's an energy healing modality. And so those who are influenced by air are really encouraged to do that kind of modality. That being said, if you think about the energy of Uranus, it is the energy of electricity on its most broad, heightened scale. It's the internet. It is, fiber optics. It is extremely powerful for electricity conduction. And so that means heightened lightning storms, heightened wind energy, and heightened intellect and heightened receptivity to thought and thought processes, because that is through the air. It's a neurotransmitted energy. And so we're going to be more psychic, more telepathic, if you will, as it comes in. And so I see that energy just heightening over the weekend and really bringing in this huge change of understanding that comes in on Monday, coupled with technology, coupled with poison, which is also Uranian in energy, coupled with chemicals and chemistry, food. What are we doing about food? Will we have enough food is going to be the storyline. So much clarity, so much brought up based on the different signs and the sign that they're both in. And that would be Uranus, technology, computers, internet, in Taurus, which is earth energy growth, and tangibility of goods as well, and retail items. And then Mars in Taurus joining up with that energy. So Mars is supercharged as well, really awakening to this vibrational mental clarity that really you don't get very often with Taurus, because it's much more of a plotting, traditional, structural energy. It doesn't want to change. It's very embedded in its energy. It is the second sign of the zodiac, which makes it a fixed sign. So we're really seeing ourselves rooted in on this energy. And it's going, because it is a fixed sign, it is a major change, Uranus North Node, taking action on these major changes that are lasting in effect and physical and growth oriented, lesson learning, physicality, material. All of it comes together to really make major shifts in our lives. And it can be around money, it could be around love, could be around agriculture, could be around technology and space. It can be many, many things. Personal power is also very much a part of that energy. Mars wants to express power and force going forward. Uranus wants to increase something vibrationally. And so Mars's vibration is increased exponentially and then put forth through the universe with the North Node. And we all as a collective feel this. So it's quite stunning in its power, on top of the fact that we have, again, that intellectual, neurological, vibrational air energy of Mercury opposite Saturn in an Aquarian sign in Uranus's home sign, all making a T-square. So it's very, very bright, intense energy. And I don't want to put it into the ethers, but I really, really hope that something gets derailed over in Russia, because I think Putin is going to try and make some kind of major move on that day, or coming up on that day. Okay, let's see what else we have before we wrap up. So the moon goes into Libra on Tuesday, sextile between Venus and Uranus. That is a Cancer Taurus aspect. So again, it's home. Sextile to Uranus means there are new ideas, new ways of thinking about it. And Venus says, hey, don't you really want this? Isn't this something that you would benefit from in your home environment, in receptivity of love and nurturing in the home environment. And maybe if you just expanded your awareness, which you got on Monday, we can work together in a cooperative way. That's going to happen at 8:25 a.m. on Tuesday with that sextile. Couple, in conjuncts and then an opposition of the moon to Jupiter and moon in Libra, looking for cooperation. I want to hope that the basketball player who got stuck in Russia with a vape pen and some cannabis gets free, because she is basically treated like an animal. From what I saw, they had her basically in a cage going up to her trial. And it just constantly stuns me, the hideous quality humanity gets from Russia and from Putin in particular. It's just incalculably demeaning and disgusting, quite honestly. And then Wednesday, we have Mercury moving into Virgo, education peak for the finals, and Libra energy, which would be the study energy and connectedness to balance and wanting balance. But there's an opposition to Chiron in Aries starting the day on Wednesday. This is opposition to Chiron in Aries, in conjunct to Uranus in Taurus, in conjunct to Mars in Taurus, square to Venus in Cancer, and then a trine with Saturn, which can bring about an emotional issue, and in conjunct to Neptune. So again, more friction between air, Libra, and desire for the emotional fulfillment with Neptune. And then the last aspect before Mercury moves into Virgo is moon square Pluto. So Wednesday is not a walk in the park either. It's a bit stressful also for balance and cooperation. And then Mercury moving into Virgo means that we are learning a lesson. And then also the moon's still in Libra on Thursday is going to square Pluto overnight, because that's an aspect that goes over time zones. And so that happens at 2:20 a.m. Eastern on the 4th and 11:20 p.m. Pacific in California or any Pacific time zones. We've got the Mercury moving into Virgo, also jumps time zones at 2:58 a.m. Eastern on the 4th. And then the moon moves into Scorpio, right back down into the emotional depths, which I just got done with this morning when the moon went into Leo. I literally could feel it. It got to about 4 degrees of Cancer, or not, 4 degrees of Leo, when I actually felt the release of the emotional tension that I'd been feeling with moon in Cancer. And I know someone with moon in Cancer and Saturn in Cancer, and I can feel that energy really strongly. And it kind of released to a brighter, happier, more cheerful, optimistic energy of Leo, thankfully, about 11 in the morning. So it was just after it went in. But Mercury in Virgo on the upcoming week, at the end of next week, is going to also be in positive aspect to the moon as we go into next week's weekend. Friday looks pretty intense, but I'm going to save that information for next week. Moon in Scorpio. It's going to be some interesting shifts because, again, Scorpio's opposite Mars and Uranus and the North Node, which will be pulling apart by then. Mars will be kind of free flowing out there away from Uranus and possibly coming up on the North Node, but maybe still conjunct to it. So there is still some major shifts happening in the course of next week. It is kind of a grounding in energy. You're going to want to ground in. That's kind of the point of the whole thing, that we take this high intensity electrical feeling and bring it into our bodies, bring it into reality and material world. But just as an aside, something, I don't even have an example. I wish I had. Oh no, do I have it? Let me look real quick. I have orgonite, but I don't know where it is right now. Orgonite is an encapsulated, like a resin item that includes a metal, like a Boy, which is like a scrubber brush for cleaning. That's metal. And you put that inside, and then you put in shavings of metal if you want, or glitter or color, and whatever you like to decorate it. I put copper coils in mine and green glitter. You can You can put in herbs, you can put in crystals, but it basically transmutes electrical energy around your computer and in your environment, in your own field. Quartz crystals are really good for grounding in the energy as well. Anyway, they're over there by the window. So get you some crystals because they're amazing and they do pick up our vibrations. Quartz crystals, actually, they use them in so many things, including watches and timers and laser technology. Quartz is an amazing mineral of the earth. Get some. I'm going to grab mine. I got some in here. There's 2 of mine. Quartz points. This one's a point. Anyway, yeah. So one more thing I wanted to do this week, because I always think about doing this, but I never really do it. So I wanted to give you an oracle card, and I'm going to show you my beautiful deck. This deck was done by an artist called Jasmine Beckett Griffith. And she is actually a local Orlando artist. She does a lot of work with Disney. And she recently released all of her artwork to the point, which was maybe 3 months ago, 4 months ago. It could be longer. Distorted sense of time. But she released the copyrights. So anybody can download those artworks and make products from them freely based on her own art, which is incredible. I'll just give you another example, a few examples. That's some of her work. Really beautiful women. It's interesting how the background falls out, but yeah, they're really cool. Anyway, this is a tarot. Well, is it tarot? That's not tarot. This is just an oracle deck by her that I like to use. I just bring it out once in a while. It's fairly crisp, fairly new. But we're going to pull an oracle card for you all for the week so we can see what the week is going to be like. And this one is, I like this one. The Fairy Ring. New skills, advanced training, rapid improvements. Very cool. It's like a tent, and there are all these cute little nymphets and a frog, a mouse, and a rabbit. Rabbits are indicative of rapid movement. Frogs are, I always get that image for clutter clearing. And then I don't know if it's like a mouse or a titmouse. Kind of has a, like, it's kind of a different type of mouse, but anyway, like a field mouse. Anyway, mice are high strung, I think. I always think of mice as being very connected to Virgo energy because small animals and pets are connected to Virgo. But, you know, that meticulous nature and a sensitivity that is brought in there. So anyway, that's a lovely little card for all of us, the Fairy Ring. Yeah, and it's a circus. Absolutely. Circus. Oh, come on, don't do that. Let me see if I can get this. There we go. Oh, everybody disappeared. How funny. It's like the invisible card. Ooh, that's wild. There you go. All right, that's all for the week. Thank you so much for watching. Take care and pass on the video if you find it interesting and want to share it. I had a friend of mine say, what does that mean when all those planets come together? And I said, well, here's my vlog on it, my video on it. Yeah, share it. Anyway, comment, like, subscribe, and we'll see you later. Take care. See you next week. My voice is froggy this week. What the heck? Oh, hang on. I can play Mega Man. Boo. You've already experienced starting May. What?
Hey, this is Shelley. I wanted to give you a heads up that there are a lot of new art prints at shelleyoverton.com. So go over there and check them out. SHELLEYOVERTON.com. Thanks.
To purchase my ebook, Learn Astrology, you can find it at angeliczodiac.com. Hi, this is Shelley. Thank you for joining us this week. To contact me for a private reading, go to angeliczodiac.com under the Readings tab. Background music was provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com. Be sure to check back next week and subscribe through iTunes at Astro Energy Astrology Show.